All right. So this is going to be section 5 of the SLAM Workman program, and we're just going to go through this section, have a little bit of discussion about it. This was for the prospecting and lead generation activities. Does anybody have any thoughts, off the bat as to what how they viewed this section compared to the others as far as usefulness or any of that? No? Oh, Jennifer Abner. That's it, Miss her.
She's sitting in her house.
Uh-huh. So Jen is. All right, there's one.
I actually do 2 of them together, so I might be getting mixed because I wasn't here last week, so I ended up doing 2 of them together because I haven't seen so.
Yeah, you did section 4 and
And
section 5.
yeah,
Okay.
together, so
Yeah.
it's running together for me right
Uh-huh.
now. So we get into it now, see.
But yeah, so let me share. Oh, I'm gonna share that, but really I want to get over here to section 5. So the finding motivated sellers, so the prospecting section. And that's where we had several different videos here, the geographic farming, the FSBOs, the other great sources, the follow-up, and then turning one client into 7. And so while the earlier sections, especially 3 and 4, were about converting leads into actual clients, or well, that was actually at 2 and 3.
Right.
And then 4 is once you actually have the listing,
Right,
how to provide good service.
right.
This kind of takes it back to square one of getting the leads
Right.
that you'll then be able to get those clients from.
Right.
And so yeah, their geo farming section. I thought the video covered geo farming pretty well. Some details in it were a little bit surprising, just from my own perspective of they suggested having 1,000 people
Yeah.
in your geo farm and that to be the target size. So if your neighborhood doesn't have 1,000, then capture more neighborhoods until you got 1,000.
I like that.
I know if I could
Yeah,
intersect in there, because I do geo farming pretty strongly. And I purposely, and they were talking about how important it is to sort of think about that farm before you choose it.
right.
And one of the things I do, I choose small ones so that I can get to know on a name basis, everyone in that farm over a period of a year or so. So I choose ones that are anywhere from 50 to 75,
Yeah,
and then I have 5 of those. I
yeah,
don't have 1,000. I'm working my way up, but I can't do 1,000 at once because then I can't really get to know. So I do in-depth kinds of stuff one at a time,
yeah, yep,
and I find that useful. And the other thing that was I looked to see if there's realtors in there.
right.
I literally ask people, but I also look at the I pull names and stuff, and I take the time to do that. Because if there's a realtor or 2 in that neighborhood, I just pass it.
That was something that I thought was a very smart tip that they had in there, was to look at the neighborhood that you're considering farming and yet pull all of the sold listings over the last several years. And if any agent has 30% or more of the market in there, it's one that they're clearly farming. And so the audience that would be receptive to being farmed
Right.
looks like they're already kind of
And
captured.
so instead of me doing what I've been doing,
Yeah,
I will do what they suggested.
Yeah.
That'll go faster for you.
Well, yeah, because I sit there literally at the MLS and go put every person's name in there, so.
But that was
literally.
smart. That was
Yeah.
really smart.
Yeah, but now, I just need to look, and it'd be real easy, I can look over a couple of years and basically see patterns.
Can we do that through MLS?
yes, in real time, we
We
can
just ask
easily,
them.
search
Just search through
all the sold listings in that
and
area.
that name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The agent's
because you
name.
can do it in like. How you already.
Right,
do that.
to draw the polygon around the
Or bring
neighborhood.
the subdivision name up,
Yeah, yep,
bring the
that's,
Oh,
sub
that's
name up.
true too, he does.
Bring
Yeah.
the sub name up and that person's name, and all sold for the last 3 years, and it'll show you. And I would do listing and selling agent just to see if there's a predominant selling agent
Yeah.
in there.
yeah,
It's like, if you do a hidden lake,
Yeah,
Terry Fennel.
oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Terry Fennel's got 60%.
Right, and so,
I have that
and
over
that's,
2 of mine too.
yeah, and so it's like, okay, to farm in there would not likely be a good strategy all you can hope to do is establish very specific relationships with people in there, and just nurture one or two relationships that you hope to then, turn into a listing
Yeah,
later
because if
on.
she has somebody disgruntled, they're not gonna use her anyways. I mean, it's a small shot.
Right.
But
Yeah.
still, nobody's gonna be exclusively to, unless it's the
Well,
start of a
because
sub.
the ones that I lose are the ones that are like a family member. My niece is a realtor who lives in, such and such a place, or a good
Yeah.
friend or something. But I bet I have 70% of
Yeah.
them. I didn't do it that
For you.
Now,
well, 2 of them, 7 years.
I mean, because they had set aside a targeted budget of about $700 a
Yeah,
month
Yeah. that's
for
right.
farming, which,
Wow.
yeah, which is a pricey, and they said, to commit to 18 to 24 months. So, $700 over 2 years, if that's quite that's why I personally think 1,000 is larger than necessary to commit to. I think, finding just your niche, whatever geography you're trying to do, and work the process of geofarming. And, if you're doing it over a 2-year span and you're starting to see success, then build upon it, by expanding to other neighborhoods since you've already got the systems in place then. But I think making that commitment upfront as to the cost investment required to, to really be successful with it. I think scale it to your capability rather than, shooting for what they're recommending on the scope.
Well, I also, when you print in hundreds. So I try to coordinate that. So I got 64 and another one 64. So basically that's 130. And then I have another farm that's 70. So now I've got 200 postcard, little things.
Yeah, no, yeah, the economies of
Three
scale
farms
there,
making
yeah.
200 smaller ones.
Yep. Similar to what they were suggesting though with researching the neighborhood and finding if any agent in there has a large market share already. Another suggestion they made, which actually I never considered before, was looking at the turnover rate. And seeing, just, in the last year, what percentage of homes in there were listed. And then, take it back, even go back a couple of years and just see, is it a neighborhood where very few homes ever actually pop up? It's the type of neighborhood where people move into and stick around for a long time, or is it a neighborhood where there's a high turnover rate and a lot of churn? Because, that has a big impact as to whether or not it's useful to farm. Because, if you're trying to capture, 30% of the listings, but it's only, the people are living in there for an average of 10+ years at a time, you're not going to get as many opportunities there. Whereas if it's the type of neighborhood that people are moving into, and then within a couple of years, they're typically moving out because they've outgrown the homes or whatever it may be, then there's more listing opportunities to take advantage of at that point.
I personally found it helpful for me was that I looked at 3 years of that, because sometimes, like the last year, you had so many sales the year before and
Mhm.
stuff, so, and then the other thing, I know this sounds, maybe this doesn't sound good, but I'm concerned about age, because if I'm in a farm where there's a lot of elderly people in their 70s and 80s
Yeah.
retiring, I have these great relationships with them, but they pass away and nobody even knows me, because the kids just bring in, the kids do whatever the kids do.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
don't
So
know,
there's a-
that's, yeah.
that is true, because I had that happen on a farm, so I left that farm because I worked and had great relationships, but when it came time and they passed away, the kids didn't know anything about me.
And
They
yeah,
had magnets
is
on my
there-
refrigerator, I got
Right.
a couple of them, but not like
Right.
not the kind of effort that I put through.
is there a way to try to mitigate that problem in advance of, being a little bit more direct with an ask of saying, hey, I'd love to, meet your family someday. I'd love to sit down with you and your family for, long-term planning purposes. Is it a little bit too on the nose that you're basically saying, like, when you die?
I never did that, but
I know, it's also tacky.
I never did that, but I did have 2 people in my farm this past year that are in their, one's in their eighties, one in the nineties, and one said, will you give this to me, because I want to give it to my kids. I want them to know the value of it now, and I told them to contact you before anything. And yeah, and then I had another one that told me, my son is probably gonna do this for sale by owner, but I told him he needs to go to you, but he's probably gonna do it for sale by owner, but thank you for all this information, because I gave it to him. But they initiated though, I have never had initiated that.
Right.
So I don't know if I got the nerve to initiate that. Yeah.
It's outside my
No,
comfort
no.
zone, but I mean, they say if, you gotta step outside your comfort zone to really, expand your opportunities. So I mean, you've identified a potential hurdle. The question
Yeah.
is, do you want to try to overcome it? That's,
Yeah.
but it's good to have that in mind and make a intentional decision one way or the other.
Maybe there's a more tactful way we could come up with something that would be like a CMA, sort of, but have it address, as you're nearing, maybe moving into an assisted living, here's some information to help you in that next step. And then it would be a CMA, but it would be more like to get their
Yes.
brain searching.
You can even say what you give this to your kids. It might be
Yeah,
helpful for
or
your
show
children.
family, here's
Yeah.
for you and your family members to
not
help you
kids,
as
but
you're
family
making the,
Yeah,
as you're making.
and I'll
the
send you,
next-
if you'd like, I give you an update every year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you can just do, if we could just get it
That's
set
good
up,
one.
it's like a one pager, you know what I mean?
Is, and
That's good.
And then
is-
it breaks the ice, so we're not going in, hey, when you die, I'd like this.
does the phrase estate planning,
Yeah.
is that a phrase that turns off people?
Well, I did it with an elderly friend who she asked me to sit with her because I was on the team of people. It's a lot of money and all those things when they do those luncheons like at Baker's in Milford where it was. They're looking to lock you up and it's an attorney and it just felt like a bunch of wolves
Yeah.
coming
Right.
in. So I would be afraid to
So-
use a state.
Well, if
plan.
you were to start off the postcard, whatever it may be, as you may be considering your estate planning, it's, important to know the value of what may be your largest asset,
Yeah.
your home. I would love to be able to provide you with a market analysis on an ongoing basis, so that way you and your family can, keep a constant awareness of your asset's value.
That's
I mean, I like that, just as you may be considering estate planning or have.
Yeah.
I provide this information for you and your family, and I'll be happy to update that on an annual basis.
Yeah. Any thoughts from the others
Yeah.
on the Zoom to this little? It's a very specific.
Jennifer,
situation.
what do you think?
I think it's great. Kathy, I'm like you. I don't really want to farm a big giant neighborhood. Because I feel like I don't have the assets to be sending out like I'm not gonna spend thousands of dollars every month for advertising. Now, that's just me. It's just because that's not where my business is gonna go. Where I don't really want that much business. I don't like a lot of the slam stuff. I feel like I have to sort of adapt it to be more like me because I'm not really gonna do it the way that they do it, right? I don't want 10,000 people in my database that, I'm contacting and my team is contacting every week, with those phone calls. That's just not me. But you were talking about, I know you really have a great lock on that senior market and those co-ops. And in fact, Kathy, I just mentioned that to one of my clients. I was showing I was talking to her about co-ops and one of your listings popped up. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Kathy. She's got this, this neighborhood locked down, and you're known for that. And I think that's really great that you're doing that way. As you were talking about it, I thought,
My farms, but Jennifer, I didn't deliberately go after that one. That one just happened to me.
really?
Yeah, it happened because I did one and then I sent postcards out and I did another one. And then all of a sudden the board liked me because I understood it, I got to know them and understood, so they started sending me referrals and then it just ended up becoming, now it is my farm and I work it hard, but I didn't actually go after that one, the landings I did,
Mm.
when I get the landings condos, but.
Yeah, I don't, one of the things I was thinking about when you were talking about the senior thing, two things. One, have you guys been hearing the commercial for that agent on WHMI where she specifically is targeting seniors and estates and I was like, dang it, I wish I'd have done that, because that's really my background is seniors. So anyway, she has a really nice commercial on WHMI. If you ever listen, I can't even remember her name. So tells you how good WHMI commercials are because I don't see it, so I can't remember it. But
There is intelligence behind that because the demographic of those who are listening to WHMI are much more likely to be in that, older range. And so, I mean,
Jordan, are you
it's-
calling me old?
Oh, you're calling me old. See, that's my station.
I mean, I have listened to WHMI for many years, but it is, I think, most of their audience skews older, and so it makes sense
They're
as
adults, they're adult audience. They're-
well seasoned.
Yeah. they're-
But yeah. And so, I mean,
It's
yeah, the geo farming section, I did actually really think was, it upped my geo farming knowledge. And so I was appreciative of this section's video on it. And so, I mean, I was something that, for an 8-minute video, just if it is something you're going to practice, you might as well do it with a little bit more intention behind it. And yeah, they've got the resources over here.
And I
You
did
sent the link.
I did the garage sale and I've never seen that in farming before. I thought, oh, that's my idea, but then not really, because there it was, that's part of it. But I sponsor a subdivision sale every year. And that allows me, and I say I do it because I'm a specialist there and I wanna, service the neighborhood. But what it allows me to do is get names and phone numbers and emails and have conversations, nothing to do with real estate, but all about real estate.
Right.
As I say, if you want your item, be sure if you want your item, call me or email me so I can make sure I mention it in the ads. And then people call me, and then the day of the sale, I get to chat with everybody and visit and how you do it and have a piece of their pizza and blah, blah. And I do it year after year after year.
That is
And I know-
incredible
I know
relationship.
smart.
I mean,
I
that
do a
is,
subdivision, I've been doing it ever since, and I do it for all, I have a huge subdivision sign that I put out, I leave it 3 days in advance. But I have a relationship with them, all about the sale, and what's good and what's bad, and then they'll call me at the last minute, can I get in? And I pass out balloons ahead of time to everybody, I mail them 3 times, I get to mail them a reason why I'm doing, hey, don't forget, in 2 months from now, don't forget, 3 months. And so I
99% of agents aren't doing anything like that. And so that is,
saw that on there and I
I
thought,
know.
wow, it's the first time I've seen it, because I
Right.
didn't do that.
and it's just, it's
And I
such
sponsored
a
a picnic.
cool thing that you're utilizing to create those relationships out of the blue. I mean, you're doing proactive steps, and that is,
Yeah.
that is very,
Yeah.
worthwhile as a suggestion for others to try to,
Yeah.
adopt and put their own spin
And it
on
doesn't
it.
cost you any money except some flyers every month to remind them, let them know you're gonna do it. And then you send reminders. And then the only thing it costs initially is the sign. And then the rider, I don't put a date, I just put Saturday and Sunday or Thursday, Friday, whatever it is. Then I could always change the riders out, but I never put a date, I just put times on it.
Yeah.
I always got this huge sign that I put out
So
front.
you can use it over and over. You
Over
have
and
to
over
custom
every year,
print,
yeah, and I just put this, and then depending on when they want it, I'll have Thursday only, Friday only, Saturday, or I have Thursday, Friday, I put different riders, so I made that investment. But that's it, and then I just get names and phone numbers of everybody and their brothers that want to,
Yeah.
and chit chat.
Kathy, is this a neighborhood that you live in, or is this
No,
a farming neighborhood?
I do it for my neighborhood, of course. I contact the association in that case, because it's a condo, let them know that I'm gonna take over the sponsorship for them, and that I'll do all the payment, and I'll do all the work. but that I want board approval, so I send everything to the board. I said, I want to make sure you see what I'm sending to the people. They don't care, but they say, yes, thank you very much. So in that flyer, I literally say that that I am sponsoring it on behalf of the association. As you know, as I said, as you know, it's my way of saying back, thank you to the neighborhood for the number of sales. Then the other neighborhood I just started out there. I just picked it only had 35 homes. And I figured I'm only gonna get 3 or 4 sales, but I wanted 35 homes because I had 64 on my other farm. That made my 100. So, and then, and then I have another one that I do. So one is my neighborhood, but the other 2 are not my neighborhood. The first letter, I sent a big postcard, not a letter, so that I want it to be open. And the first postcard says subdivision sale. And then in the writing, it says, as a way of introduction, because I have chosen your neighborhood in which to specialize in. And so on and so forth, and as a way of introduction, is the comp. Then after that, I just send flyers, and then I do it every year now. They call me if I haven't got it out yet. And we'll be having it, so.
That's, I just,
Amazing.
yeah,
But I
I'm
know
really
everybody-
impressed with
every
that.
single person.
Brilliant,
name basis,
brilliant idea.
First name basis, and I used to in Commerce Township back in the old days when I was a realtor, back in the way days. Back then, I would make it like a carnival. I would have an ice cream truck. It was like a bigger subdivision, 112 homes. I would have an ice cream truck, and I would have a Little Caesar set up a tent and would do pizzas, pizza slices and stuff. But here I called and they won't let you do that.
Yeah.
There's now zoning.
But no,
you gotta
I
get
mean,
food permits
it's-
and all, yeah, whatever. So-
There's a lot of ways to turn that into quite the event, and yeah, to,
Oh, I even, then I had a band, my kid was in band, so they had the band going through the little high school
Yeah.
band. It was cool. It was like a party.
I-
But here I've asked and asked and they won't, they
Yeah.
won't let me do it. They said, no, you can't have food. You
No, I-
gotta have a license. You gotta,
But
Cool.
that's just a Livingston County thing, because I'm in Oakland, I grew up in Oakland.
Well, Oakland's where I had it in Commerce Township.
Yeah,
So
I grew up in Milford.
But that was I was in real estate 1977 to 1991, and then I left and came back, so that was back in the day, like the early mid-70s, so.
well, Kathy, I'm gonna say that
Anyway.
actually though, you were a greater resource for the geo farming topic than the video itself, like
I
that,
love farming.
your experience and your ideas, so
I love it.
key. We should move on though to
Yes,
the
yeah.
FISBO
Don't get me
that
on
expires
farming.
that video.
All day.
And so, the for sale by owner strategy that they were talking about of, every FISBO that pops up, to basically call them and say that, you would like to do an agent preview, just so that way you get into every for sale by owner in your area. That you walk through it, you provide them the feedback, you tell them that it's because, you have a team with a bunch of buyers, agents, and you're gonna try to play matchmaker and all that. But then you've established that dialogue where then, after the weekend, you reach out to them to say, hey, is it still available? Just checking in on things. You create that relationship without it being about directly soliciting their listings. But, if you just approach it as, okay, I want to know about your home in case I have the right buyer to match make with. And as a professional real estate agent in the area, I want to know about all available homes, not just those available on the MLS. Therefore, then, I'm just, you as the seller, I'm going to be in direct communication with you over the life of your listing, until it sells, just because I want to know about your house and how it's going and all that stuff. And then if it, doesn't sell, maybe then you start to, suggest, hey, what about this marketing strategy or whatever? If you want some help with it, I could, we could work out a reasonable commission, that sort of thing. So it's starting that interaction with them just on, hey, can I see your house? Because I want to know about it. Don't upfront be like, hey, have you considered listing with an agent?
That's what they get all the time.
Yeah, I mean, then you're gonna,
They're done.
you're gonna be in competition with all the other agents who are going that route. Being a little bit more laid back about it will set you apart from those who are aggressive. Now, the laid back approach is a little bit more of a commitment to actually, staying in contact with them with no guarantee it'll, ever turn into anything if they end up selling, as is the FISBO.
Remember, Will used to service them that way. He would send out, just like they suggested, Will did that. He would send out, like a seller's disclosure. Did you realize the state of Michigan
Yeah.
and you require you know what, let me get them online, so let me send one out to you. I can't send you the one that's for us because it's already letterhead. But let me get one online and send it out to you. You gotta make sure you fill that out. You must give it to all your buyers. And then he said, oh, well, we didn't know that or whatever, but thank you. And then he would check back and then he would send out something every single week helpful.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, yeah, because
Will did that
Yeah.
every single week.
here is their 90-day FISBO campaign. And so, so day 1, you send them the seller's disclosure. Day 10, you send them just a purchase agreement form. It's something that, you can continue to just, send to
You're
them.
being helpful.
Yes, just as being helpful, but and then it's, if you are also in phone communication with them, just checking on things, that sort of stuff, like it does. Yeah, it creates a relationship that isn't yet an agency relationship, but if they do decide to get an agent, you're very likely top of mind.
Well, what Will said, he said, and I thought this was genius. Will said, I would say to them, look, it's obvious you're not gonna list your house right now, unless it doesn't sell, you wanna sell it on your own, so I respect that. So you know what? Let me just help you a little bit in the event that you don't sell, hopefully you'll give me a call and let me interview for the job, one of the other people. But meanwhile, it doesn't hurt me to help you a little bit, let me send you some stuff. And that's the way he did it, like, obviously, so he would play it the other way. Obviously, you're not gonna sell you're not gonna list your home right now, you wanna
Right.
sell, I get that.
Yeah.
So I might as well as a realtor, go ahead and send you things, and hopefully you'll remember me if you do end up interviewing.
Yeah.
And let me send you some stuff, and then a week later, oh, I forgot, this might be helpful too, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And that's what he did, and I thought that was genius.
Did he get a lot of those?
Oh, Will was a big agent.
Oh, I know who he was.
Yeah, he got a lot of them. And the thing is, but that's what he said he did. I asked him about it, and that's what he said he did. And I thought, that's genius.
I find it funny that he would say he'd like to help them out.
Oh, yeah, because Will's personality,
He was not a nice.
His
Sorry.
his personality in the meetings was a lot different than the way he talked to clients.
Oh, he was
Something else
wicked
in
with
meetings,
his mouth and how he talked to
in the
people.
meetings.
well, other age, yeah. It was-
Oh, what? Yeah, huh?
Yeah. I was on the receiving end.
I'm sure you
If
were.
you're for sale by owner, obviously like your listing, but if you're not gonna give it to me, I might as well help you out a little bit with things that,
You need to know.
yeah, you need to know, and then if you do end up missing it, I appreciate an interview.
Yeah, well, and,
That's perfect.
because they had the one quote in here, like later on, I know why your home hasn't sold and it isn't the price. It's the same quote that, they wanted, agents to adopt as how to approach expireds as well. You don't just tell them like, hey, you didn't sell because you're overpriced. You gotta be able to say like, okay, there's a marketing strategy that you've not yet employed. And if you hire a professional to do the marketing properly, even at your current price, it can sell, that sort of thing.
I'm not comfortable with that.
No,
man.
I agree.
I totally am not comfortable with that, because it might be the price.
Oh, yeah.
We all know that if it doesn't sell, usually it's a price unless it's in some weird area, and even then it's the price that you're gonna compensate.
You gotta go down.
Yeah, right. So I'm not comfortable, because then I gotta come back, and and then,
I love all this information. It was great. My daughter's got to think school, so I gotta know.
My speech on FISBOs, although I don't really work them, but when I'm doing a listing presentation and someone talks to me about they're thinking about maybe doing for sale by owners, I remind them of the story that when I was in New York, I tried to do a for sale by owner of my own home before I was a realtor. And when I did that, I got offers that were 6% less than market value. And the reason that for sale by owners are looking at for sale by owner houses is because they want to save 6%. So what is your advantage to saving 6% and doing all the work yourself? So that's kind of my FISBO speech.
and that's true.
Yeah, nobody's paying market value on a FISBO.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the type that I just think the communication you send to the other side in negotiations, it's very obvious. If you're a FISBO or one of the, you're hiring one of those agents who are just like putting it on the MLS only, but otherwise sellers doing all this stuff, just the very minimal costs that are trying to just squeeze every penny they can, at the outset from the listing. Yeah, the buyers then know that, okay, they've got to approach all negotiations from an adversarial way of thinking, yeah, they're gonna be trying to play as ball as possible. We got to play hardball back. It's not going to be cooperative and collaborative to find the win-win. They're trying to find a win without regard for anybody else winning as well.
And the other thing is, it doesn't, well, we could say that now we're going into a different world, but it was that a buyer doesn't have to pay. Now we're in a different world. So your pool of buyers, realtors have a larger pool of buyers, because buyers have the advantage of going to a realtor, using a realtor, and having them help them through the whole process, which they may be intimidated by, especially first-time buyers, et cetera, et cetera. And they don't have to pay for that service. They've never paid for it. Now that's a different story, so. Can't really use that now.
Yeah. Anything
I
else?
still use that. Kathy, I'm
Yeah.
still going with the mentality of sellers are paying
I know.
agency,
I typically don't use FISBOs unless I actually have a legitimate buyer. Then I go and say, I have a legitimate buyer.
Yeah.
Period. Accept the commission letter and let me show it, boom. I don't normally work them, but maybe I should work them.
I mean, it's with all of this, what they say is, I mean, yeah, there are 100 different ways to try to generate leads. What we as agents need to focus on is like, choose our 4 or 5 that we want to excel at and focus on those, because, and it's fine then to not do the others. Like, yeah, if you want to incorporate FISBOs but not expireds, then yeah, it's totally fine.
Right.
You don't need to have a strategy for expireds.
Right.
Focus on your FISBOs and do that to the highest quality you can, along with working your sphere to the highest quality and your geo farming to the highest quality, and then you can ignore these other ways in which people. So yeah, with any of these, it's nice to know what the quote unquote best way to do it is. But as to whether or not, you need to incorporate it into your business, that's a big picture discussion of, okay, what is the different approaches,
It's best with who we are.
yes. Any other thoughts though on the expireds, or should we move on to the next section? I think we can move on. The other great sources for leads, this was, I don't even remember what some of the examples that they put out there. Was it like social media?
In this section, I kind
Yeah.
of liked a couple other things, Jordan,
Yeah.
while you're going through there looking. But some of the things I thought was interesting is that they talked about your Zillow profile.
Yep.
And I kind of wondered what you guys all thought about that. I have one Zillow review. I was using Rate My Agent for everything. And for all of my reviews, I have 100% of my sales have a review on Rate My Agent. And so now Rate My Agent is no longer a free service. It's now a paid service. So I really wish that RE/MAX would pick up those costs. I think it was originally free through RealComp or something, and now it's not. But sorry, that is kind of loud. It's my vacuum cleaner in the background. It's coming back in to charge. Anyway, I was wondering what you guys thought about the Zillow, and should we be putting our eggs in the Zillow review basket?
Well, when I first started here as a new agent 7 years ago, I did the whole Zillow thing. And I had to have clients, but clients had a hard time. I had 3 or 4 different clients initially that said that they had a difficult time actually using the Zillow platform.
For the review?
Yeah,
you're
for the
saying?
review, and I would
Okay.
send them the link and all of that, so, but I ended up putting them all on my website, literally, I have all my reviews on my website. And then I ask permission, once they're there, then I ask permission, like a year later, I come back and say, hey, it's on my website, but would you mind if I was able, to put it somewhere else, wherever that is.
Is that a feature KV Core has where we can get all of our reviews in through
Well,
KV Core?
I don't know, because I haven't used KV Core on that, they'll know, but I know that my website, I'm with WordPress, and what it does is it sends them if they send an email, they go on to it's on my, you could have them build it on there. It's on my website to go in and hit review. And then they leave a review there, and then I automatically, the minute they hit that, it's an email, it comes to me. I can review it. And then I send it on and give my permission to send it on. But I have all my reviews on my website, and then I drive people to my website constantly. And I even have contests like, find out, tell me who, it's a $50 gift card or whatever, gift card or prize, a drawing or whatever, if somebody will, one of my constituents tells me what somebody said on such and such a date, so it drives people there to read, so anyway.
But yeah,
And-
Rob, your
Go ahead.
thoughts on KV Core?
Did KV Core, are they gonna allow reviews? I'm assuming they will.
So on KV Core, actually, I have a different perspective on this. Yeah, you can do reviews through KV Core, all that jazz. I find that the most value for reviews is going to be Google My Business, basically your Google page. It's going to increase your SEO. When people search for realtors, you're going to pop up, and that's where people go to compare. I think I like Zillow for reviews if I was a reviewing agent, because I know that they're not fake reviews, but I know that, like, because I'm a realtor, I know that. The general public doesn't know that. So they're gonna, if they're looking for reviews or for a realtor, most likely they're gonna put it in Google. And so making sure your Google My Business page is where all of that stuff lands is gonna have the best net return. And then copy and paste it over to KV Core so it's on your website.
See, I did just the opposite. Have them put it there, so maybe I should do that. Because I always have them put it on my website first, and then I reach out to them and say, gee, it's on my website, thank you so much. Would you mind if you copied and pasted, if I send it back to you, would you copy and paste it and put it over onto Google? Because I find that will be helpful as well. And that allows me another tick and reminds them, but maybe I should do it the opposite, Rob.
Yeah.
Say, and then copy and paste it to my website.
Yeah, they just put it on your website. I would hope that at some point KV Core adds a Google Analytic that connects back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's easy enough to get your referrals on there. But for Google, somebody has to put it there. So I'd go that route.
So we can manually take them from Google and put them onto our KV Core. We don't need to have the person put it on KV Core. We can
Nope.
do that ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do that, but on the other hand, we can't do the opposite. You can't take it from your website and put it on Google, so
Right.
you switch things around there, I think, probably. But I definitely want them all on my website, because I drive people to my website all the time. to find
And
them.
Rob, kind of while we have you, I wanted to ask you another KV Core type question. It talked about doing have the market home values on social media. So you could put on social media a link that says, do you want to get your a valuation of your home? Is that something we can do through KV Core also?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We can try to actually on the Monday email, let's make a note to see if we can find how to do that. If there's one of the fast forward videos, and share that out Monday.
Well,
That'd
and
be awesome.
we can add that also to like the April calendar, since, I mean, I wanna upgrade our KV Core trainings to the next level. I think that's a good example of, a 201 level KV Core class.
And Jordan, I was super appreciative that you did that. You talked about that in our staff meeting last week about, that little quick get yourself set up. I really appreciate that because as soon as you said it, I popped on my
Yeah.
KV Core and I set that up immediately. So now I'm like, okay, I need to do that for all the rest of my clients. So thank you for doing those little short things that I can have instant results for. I
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
that was your suggestion and it was a brilliant idea. So I am trying to find something each week for the sales meeting as well. But yeah, getting back to the SLAM content, with the additional, sources for leads. You know, they talked about the new construction strategy, hanging outside
That was
of new
interesting.
construction
That was
homes.
interesting.
And any potential buy, like to pretend you're basically the, agent holding it open. Home shows, I mean, I'm not the type that would, go through the hassle of getting a booth at a home show. I think the return on investment there may be, but I mean, I guess, there are probably some agents out there who have found success. If they decide, okay, yeah, we're gonna be presenting at this home show, at the suburban showplace or whatever, we're gonna get a booth and be there for anybody that's coming by. But then you've got to basically be able to have a worthwhile value proposition for the audience members walking by that aren't yet in the market for a real estate agent. And so how do you get them to want to engage with you at your booth? And how do you want to brand yourself? Is it going to be that, yeah, you're an agent who knows home renovations so well, that's why you're at the home show, which is what the home show is primarily about, is doing the different home improvements. That's your specialty as a real estate agent. And so, if you're incorporating that sort of branding, then it would align, I think, with the home show. But I mean, that's quite the commitment in my view, to go a route like that.
Yeah, I think it's more name recognition too. The more you people see your name and stuff, though, they walk through, they notice the name, they do something else, they notice the name, they open a magazine, they notice. But that's if you're big and if
Well,
you,
yeah,
like Jennifer and I, we have a defined number of people, and
right.
if you're a huge team and you're looking to brand yourself and make this huge, then I would think that stuff is more about branding than actually getting your photos.
So,
Where is everybody?
yeah, we lost a couple. That's okay. We can move on. The turning one client into seven, section that was the, final of, the videos. Because, you have the, lead follow-up and conversion. Obviously, that was just about providing excellent service, and just being, in contact. You have the lead tracker system, which, I think was also available through, the other courses that they offer here. And you have the scripts. Any thoughts on this, or should we go to the final video? Yeah, let's take it, the turning one client into seven, because this, I mean, this is the bread and butter of most real estate agents, is that, it's when you get that past client, how do you properly then, leverage that relationship to be then a source for new relationships and future transactions. I mean, that's, the name of the game for I would say 80% of the agents out there is they just rely on the deals that they've done and, do what they can to turn those, because a referral, and this is Ruth and our business has been pretty much entirely in this realm of, her past clients and the people who already loved her, they're constantly giving her name out. And so when we get a referral from a past client, it is that much easier to convert that lead into a client, because they reached out to you because they heard your name from a friend that they trusted enough to ask for that information and everything. Any thoughts from others about, doing the client appreciation events or getting the swag just to keep, to nurture those relationships on an ongoing basis?
I am 80% referral based. when I do my stats at the end of the year, I actually promote that to my clients. So I let them know, like every year I send out I make a gift or make or buy. It's usually sort of a combination of two things. Like this year I made candles. Last year I made DIY Bloody Mary mixes. So I, had like a plastic a plastic mason jar cup that had my logo on it, and my logo is Jennifer thinks I'm awesome. And so that goes on all of my gifts to my clients. So it doesn't have like my phone number, it doesn't have like that kind of contact information on it, but the gift always has Jennifer thinks I'm awesome. And so like one year I did coffee mugs with hot cocoa bombs on top of them. And so every year I do a gift that goes to my past clients and or like really good referral clients. So if I have someone who maybe hasn't bought and sold with me, but they refer out my name a lot, then I get them on my gift list. So I have about 110 gifts that I hand deliver them every year. And with it is a postcard that says, thank you so much for making my business successful. And that 82% or whatever the percentage is for that year came from you. And then it has like my other stats on it and average sales price and days on market and how many clients I've served, those kinds of things. So the postcard part has has the stats and the data and my phone number on it, but the gift does not. But I do that every year for those recurring ones, and I promote them. I say, thank you so much for making me successful. I really tout that to them for doing it. So that's sort of my annual gift that I do for my repeat clients.
So Rob knows this, but I use my website again, because I drive people. My website's mostly about me. It's not about a place for them to search, because there's so zillions places for people to search, including the portals that I set up for them. So it's all about who I am and sending people referrals to that site. But on my website, people come, I send a big postcard at the beginning of December. And it basically says, go to my website to choose your gift, your appreciation gift. And then they go into my website and they can select one of 3 gifts. And those gifts then get delivered. They can either pick up a pie at, Grand Traverse Pie, or they can get an Amazon gift that I've selected or whatever. So I do that every holiday, and then every Valentine's Day, I send out a half a pound of fudge with the logo that says home, and the sweet is in parentheses and in red. Home, sweet fudge, something like that. And then I send that out to them. So that's what I do in order to just keep myself, besides other stuff you do during the year, like anniversary cards and all that stuff. But that's what I do, is I do 2 presents a year or 2 gifts a year.
Yeah.
I love that, Jennifer, what you're saying you do.
Yeah, especially with the branding of,
The branding, and also,
Jennifer thinks I'm
the
awesome.
fact that it's personal and whatever. But I also like the fact I drive people to my website every year. I drive them there. They have to go there. There's a thing that says client appreciation. They click on it, then they can select one of 3 buttons. They want to either have this, Rachel Ray oil, olive oil thing that you dispenser, or a pie from Grand Traverse Pie, or whatever I do that year. They select one of 3. But mainly it drives them, and it allows my out-of-state clients to be able to get a gift from me that's not where. That's why I put Amazon gifts, because, they can't go to Grand Traverse Pie, but they can. So.
Who hosts your website, Kathy? Is that just the Remax one, or do you have an outside source?
No, I have the Remax one, but I designed it, and then I had WordPress. I paid $35 a month for them to maintain it. And every year when I want to do that, I'll say, hey, put new radio, this is what I want in my new radio buttons. Or when I run a contest where people have to come and read I'll have them enter stuff like that, so $35 a month and it's worth it. They basically, they put all my solds, they put all my reviews. I look at them, but then they put them all on and I set up a format that I like, so I tell them, use this format, and they always use the format that I give them in terms of how I want it to look and all that, so,
I'm looking at your site right now.
yeah, are you? Yeah. So I don't put anything on there except my solds, my reviews, client appreciation. And then I think we have a calculator kind of thing. But there's no like searches, big searches, or like, it was the search light that always comes, but there's no toggles that take these two big searches because they're there to, this is basically for referrals, to them figure out who I am and all that.
It's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah,
Do you see the client appreciation?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I forgot what I gave this year. I think I gave fudge, didn't
1 pound of fudge, a pie from Grand Traverse, or $20 Amazon gift card.
I? And I only did the $20 this year, but a lot of times I'll pick the gift out, but. And I made arrangements with the guy up north at Sutton's Bay, the fudge shop. His name's Michael, the owner, and I give him the order and the names, and he creates them all and ships them all out for me.
Can I be your client? Can I
Yeah.
fudge? That sounds amazing.
yes.
Yeah, it's costly, but honestly, not really, and I really do appreciate them. I think you do too, Jennifer, right? We do appreciate them. I mean, I'm not just about getting the referral too, it's just, you end up getting a relationship with your clients, so.
Yeah, when I hand deliver them, sometimes I run into them in the driveway or they see me on their Ring doorbell, and it really does make a difference. And then I don't knock on the door and talk to them because I don't like to be intrusive. I don't want somebody coming to my door. I'm not dressed, or my house is a mess, or I'm busy. So I specifically drop the gift at their front door, and I pull out of the driveway and then I text them. I have like I just copy and paste and from my last delivery and say, Happy New Year, or, hope you're doing great. I just dropped a little something off at your front door, big giant heart, and,
Nice.
so I don't, and then they usually text back, and then I start a text conversation with them, and, oh, how are the kids? What have you been doing? And so it gives me a really good,
Yeah.
doing the delivery drive-by and texting them with the follow-up text makes a huge difference because it creates the conversation. Otherwise, like I was thinking about Tanya Maples, I use her for most of my buyers for the lender. And so I receive a gift from her at the end of the year. And this year she mailed it. It got mailed to me.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know that I properly thanked her for it.
Yeah.
But when it was in the office, like she would drop it off at the office and I picked it up from the office, I was like, oh, I better make sure I text her. But because so anyway, that was sort of when I didn't properly thank Tanya, I thought, oh, shoot, I better make sure that I'm communicating with my people to make sure that I do have a conversation with them.
Right. And with me, I send them out the postcards to let them know. And then if I don't, it's a week ahead of time, they have to make those orders a week ahead of time so things can get shipped out. If I don't hear from them, then I say, hey, guys, I sent you a postcard and wanted you to,
Well, yeah, well, we can
So it
wrap
sounds
up.
like we're all doing stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I mean, that is the name of the game for most agents. And so, we all find what works for us when it comes to nurturing those relationships. And then, if you can find your sphere that you can, interact with in whatever ways you're comfortable with, that they appreciate, and you just keep that relationship going, it's where then, yeah, you can build a long-term business out of it. And so, yeah, so it was nice to see that section 5 ended with that, which is basically the end of the class. Because yeah, the section 6, which I did not realize when I planned out the calendar for this, Section 6 is basically just a wrapping up thing with like 2 videos. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm gonna tell everyone that in 2 weeks, but not on Good Friday, but the day before, the 28th, we will have the section 6 meeting for SLAM, but I'm gonna send out all of the videos from these previous sections, and it's gonna be just one last discussion about the class as a whole. And so, anybody who wasn't able to participate, but they've now, I'm gonna make sure that everybody has all the videos from these discussions, and let's get back together and just have one last discussion about, overall what the best takeaways from this course was, and how we're, hoping that our business can be improved from it. So thank you all for participating today. I appreciate it. And I will stop the recording and hope to.
Oh, Ron,